The following review is intended for entertainment purposes and targeted for adult fans of the series.
We see that indeed Kamen Rider Axe is hunting for Dragon Knight, attacking him. That's cool, isn't it? Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another Kamen Rider Dragon Knight episode review. For once, I'm not starting a video off with an apology. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to be a little more forgiving of myself. I've got a pretty full plate right now. A full-time job, a weekly D&D session, and 2 YouTube channels is actually a lot to manage. Neither of those channels has a set schedule right now. Sadly, the videos come out when I'm done making them. That being said, last time we were left on one banger of a cliffhanger as a new femme fatale rider has emerged from the mirror world and looks set to kick some backside. Let's see what she's up to as I take a look at the 22nd episode of Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, A Rider's Resolve.
Please make sure you're subscribed to the channel.
Yeah, and make sure you got your notifications set up by hitting that little bell icon.
Right you. What he said was, you can consider checking us out on Patreon or Ko-fi at Orange Ranger Videos. Right you.
The action in the episode picks up right where the last one left off, with the White Rider beating up on some gel newts. We see that, like the swan she seems to embody, she's very graceful and acrobatic. She does seem to have a partial shoulder cape that kind of gets in the way more than it helps, though. She has a thin sword, almost kind of a fencer's epee, and just takes care of business. Then suddenly, in a snap, she's back out of the suit to show off that luxurious long blonde hair as she gets on her bike and says, "Let's go venting." At the hospital, Kit is telling his unresponsive father about venting Kamen Rider Spear, how it didn't feel right. When he responds, yeah, it's another vision, and this time he tells Kit that he's disappointed in him. Kit can't believe this, saying that he saved his father, but his father says he wouldn't have had to do that in the first place if he'd been putting his family first. Kit finally starts to call this out, saying that besides the whole blood is thicker than motor oil line, blah, 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 blood is thicker than water actually gets the meaning of that saying backwards, etc., etc. His dad also taught him that the noblest thing a man can do is to help someone in need. His dad says, not at the expense of his family, ominously hinting that he doesn't have much time left here and that soon Kit is going to have to make a decision.
Suspense!
Weirdly good bookstore scene here. Maya returns, having a quick flashback about how charming and good and wonderful JTC was as she walks through the door. She brings Trent up to speed, and the two of them lament having been fooled by him. But they quickly conclude that it's his loss. He could have used the power of the strike deck to fight for Earth, like Len and Kit are, like Chris was, but selfishly decided instead to use it to get the things that he wanted. Over at the Xaviax factory, Danny is still grieving his brother and declaring that Dragon Knight is history. James and Xaviax approach, and to his credit, at first Xaviax tries being really sympathetic. He says he understands the pain of loss. He lost an entire world. Citation needed. But Dragon Knight is his ace in the hole until Wing Knight is dealt with, so he's still off limits. Danny refuses to listen, still saying the Kit is going down for venting his brother. Xaviax stays oddly patient and just changes tactics, reminding Danny that they have a deal. The Cho brothers took his money and at the time said they were honorable men. That's another citation needed there. They were thieves from the very beginning. But Danny says that family honor tops all of that. And Xaviax can even have the money back. That gets Xaviax to change tactics and forms. He assumes his purple alien form, his natural form, I guess, and uses telekinesis to basically force choke lift Danny into the air. He says that he owns Danny, and if he gets close to the dragon, he's gonna get what Albert got. Danny meekly agrees, though when Xaviax drops him and walks away, it's pretty clear that Danny's not going to listen. Meanwhile, Len is playing with some of the show's toys. Just kidding, just kidding. He has the decks of the vented riders with him, and in fact, the toy line didn't have separate decks for the riders. It just had this one that came with the belt that you could slide these various faceplates into, and we're getting off topic. He holds the Sting deck and has a flashback of Chris asking a question that Len never heard him ask. It's about what Semper Fidelis means. He asked James that, not Len.
How did you know about the parts you weren't there for?
Kit walks up, asking Len if venting riders ever gets any easier. Len drops a line that beloved Jungle Fury mentor RJ once dropped on Casey. "I'm done teaching you things." He says that he was never supposed to be the leader of the team in the first place. With the Ventaran riders, Wing Knight was kind of the sneaky, covert ninja sort of character that they'd send out after dark to do the dirty work. Kit, who came here to get moral support from Len, actually ends up giving him moral support instead, telling him that he's led by example, even if he doesn't think he's a teacher, and help Kit learn how to be a Kamen Rider without really saying anything. The mirrors shimmer, and off they race. After the apparently necessary motorcycle porn, which does include the rare transformation sequence on the bike in the space between, we see that indeed Kamen Rider Axe is on the hunt, attacking Dragon Knight. And he's lost it too, laughing in that insane way and declaring that nobody hurts the Chos. Then we see that the White Rider is watching. Kit tries to reason with Danny, saying that he's talking so much about hurting family. Danny and Albert kidnapped his father, but of course that falls on deaf ears. Danny even says that after Kit, Xaviax is going down next, showing that whole power demonstration, lack of faith, disturbing thing kind of fell on deaf ears. Axe goes to activate his final vent card, but then the White Rider jumps in, telling the imposter to take that armor off. Len and Kit had been racing to the spot in Ventara that they needed to go, but now Len gets here easily in showtime, I'd say like 20 minutes later, and he also gets the same episode-stretching bike transformation in the space between. The White Rider, whose name I will give when the show does, is just too graceful for Axe to even really hit. He pulls out his tiger claws and she uses her sword vent, which really is more of a long staff. She wipes the floor with him and he runs off, promising to deal with both of them later. Kit is relieved, but only for a moment, as she then starts attacking him. She only fights for Ventara and will not listen when Kit insists that they're on the same side. Len finally shows up, defending Kit and thinking that this new rider is another one of Xaviax's doubles. But when she talks the way that she does, he says that it can't be true. She powers down and demands to know why Len, who she calls by name, is defending Xaviax's riders. Len powers down as well, calls her Case, and says that he can't believe she's still alive. Let's read the cards! Episode 22, A Rider's Resolve. Pros: the White Rider has a unique fighting style that freshens things up. The bonding scene with Kit and Len was nice for them. And Xaviax's various methods. Cons: that Boom Studios in-between issue feel. Danny losing his mind is kinda tropey, and Kit is getting fooled again. This episode felt oddly average and barely felt like it started before it was over. A Rider's Resolve gets 3 cards out of 5. Our new White Rider definitely changes things up, and one of the main ways is in the fight scenes. We've had a little variety in fighting style rider to rider, but not really. It's basically just been straight up martial arts. It's a little obvious to have the girl be the one that's all flowy and acrobatic and hard to hit, but it does at least change up the fight scenes. She kicked Axe's tail by following perhaps that wisest of battle advice. The best defense is not to be there when the weapon arrives. That really was a nice bonding scene between Kit and Len. And actually, let me toss a bonus point in this same pro for that scene between Trent and Maya in the bookstore for similar reasons. Both scenes showcased really good bonding between characters over a shared feeling of loss. Maya and Trent mourning their friendship with James, who betrayed them, and Kit and Len over feelings of regret about venting Kamen Riders. This is one of the reasons I love this show as much as I do. It lends some serious dramatic weight to the type of real serious things that would be going on while armored riders fight rubber-suited monsters. We have seen Xaviax use different methods to deal with different people before, but this is one of the first times we've seen him go through a couple of different methods with the same person. The thing is, Xaviax is a very efficient villain. He'd much rather just sweet talk and fool someone and have them be 100% invested in the cause than to have to spend the energy flexing and putting his foot down. Now, as we saw, he is willing to put his foot down by putting your feet up in the air in a forced chokehold, but that really was his last option once it's clear that Danny was not listening to him. Now, obviously it didn't work, but that's a point for next time. This is kind of the overall general feeling con of the episode, but it does need to be addressed as its own con directly. This felt like one of those Boom Studios Power Rangers comic issues where they were in the middle of a story arc and needed to just spend some time establishing a lot of stuff to get ready for the next major story beat. It feels like the second episode of a three-parter where not a lot was set up because it was set up in episode 1 and not a lot was resolved because they're doing that in episode 3. The preview for the next episode does show that a good amount of stuff is going to boil over. But I have to say it again, when you're reviewing and scoring a show one episode at a time, you can't give a single episode credit for what the next episode is going to pay off. It is powerful and emotional to have a brother driven mad by the loss of the only family he seems to have left, raging against everything. But this whole forget Xaviax, I'm taking down Dragon Knight and then taking down Xaviax thing is getting a little bit old. It just feels a little more trite in this episode because, my dude, he just Darth Vader'd you. You were absolutely powerless. You think you're just going to slap on your tiger armor and take him down? Really? It's understandably silly, but it's also so silly that it pushes at the suspension of disbelief. Yay! We're getting another round with Toku's bestest himbo. This time, it's the stuff with his dad. Again, like with Danny, the family connection with Kit does play into this. It is a factor, but you know that your dad is catatonic. So what do you think is happening when he speaks to you? Do you think that he's only able to speak to you? Or is it some kind of supernatural thing that's going on? And for a while now, he's been speaking to you out of character and telling you things that you know are wrong. Kit, put it together. Not a bad episode by any means, just another one of those middle-of-the-road episodes that's going to get us to the next good thing. Let's take a peek at the 23rd episode of Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. You know what? No. I'm not going to stand on the principle of not revealing the name of this new rider until the show does, and then have the title of the next episode give it away. So for now, I'm going to use the Japanese title of this episode. Yeah, the Japanese dubs, some of them have different episode titles. Anyway, let's take a peek at the 23rd episode of Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, Resignation or Retribution. Case isn't willing to accept Kit as the new Dragon Knight and challenges him to a fight. James gives Danny one last chance to forget revenge and keep his promise to Xaviax, or else he'll be vented. A mysterious rider in black attacks Kit. That's going to wrap up another Kamen Rider Dragon Knight episode review. Thank you, heroes, so much as always for watching. I said at the start of the episode that I wouldn't be apologizing. I will thank you, however, for being patient, waiting for these reviews to come out. As you can see, I'm having a couple of technical difficulties as well. That second monitor I was so happy about getting currently doesn't work at the moment, and I'm holding this microphone because I don't know where else to put it with the arm that I have for it, and etc., etc. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, being patient with the time and the scuff and all of that stuff. Make sure to like the video by hitting that thumbs up button right down below. And while you're down there, you can leave me a comment letting me know what you thought about this episode, as well as my review of it. Until next time, Riders, may the power of the cards protect you. Kit finally calls this out, saying that besides the whole blood is thicker than oil, Danny refuses to listen, still saying that Danny says family honor tops all that, and I forgot the part about citation needed. Kit tried to reason with Danny. We have had a little variety fight rider, and not a lot was resolved because they're going to take care of that next time. Now,